Good evening, hello, welcome back. I said I'd be here on Tuesday night, and I am here. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in, say hello. Let me know how you doing. What's going on with you? Anyway, so I'm here, and like I said, I would be, and this is what's going on. Like, subscribe, and share. Share, share, share. Come on and share, and stop by and say hello. How we doing? How we doing? How we doing? How we doing? Come by and say hi. How we doing? How we doing? How we doing? How we doing? Come by and say hi. By and say hi. So what's going on tonight? I said I'd be here on Tuesday, and this is Tuesday, and I'm glad to have you in. Um, so with everything going crazy in the world and all the we just can't seem to get away from, hey monkey ass, how are you? Thank you. I appreciate that. It's nice to have you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, with all the things that's going on in the world and being shoved down our throats, how's your anxiety? How's your depression doing? What's your triggers? What's going on with you? I was on a couple of nights ago and I said I'm going to do this a couple times a week, and we're a place where you can feel safe and confident, and you can feel that it's okay to feel like you're feeling. There's no judgments here. You can talk about what's ever going on with you without any judgment, that type of thing. And um, basically, we can have a talk. Talk about, feel like we can really make a difference for each other and build a family where it's okay to be upset. It's okay to be depressed. It's okay to have your anxiety going. It's okay to deal with middle of the day, middle of the night traumas, things that keep coming back and reflecting on your mind. Things, anxiety. I'm kind of an advocate for that because I go through it on a daily basis, and it's not an easy thing to do. Um, but we're in this world where we're dealing with what's going on in Ukraine and Russia, and it's being shoved down our throats, and the bobbleheads and the some of the other YouTube channels are talking about it. It's talked out. Um, yes, and I know that the president is on there, kind of talking about what's going on in here too. It is. Thank you, monkey ass, and I'm sure everybody has their things going on in their life, whether it's work or your kids or your job or it's um grocery shopping or trying to pay those bills or worrying about how you're going to pay your rent or whatever that situation is. So I get that. I completely understand that. And we're going to sit here, you know, and we're going to sit here and have all these, the right, the left, did the some of these platforms with the right and the left, and then we're gonna watch it on TV, and you're gonna have conflicting stories. And what I have to emphasize is we're not addressing mental health issues, and that is something that's important. It's time we came out of the closet. It's time we stop hiding this stuff from our families, our friends, our neighbors, going into finding avenues to release the stress, the anxiety, the depression, the trauma, and dealing with people who actually either identify it or understand it because they're going through it themselves. And so many times, as I said in my last video, so many times we're dismissed. It's in your head. It's not real. It's not what's happening. You'll get over it. It's a passing phase. I've every time you come and you talk to me about this, the next thing you hear is, "Oh my God, we have to talk about this again. Wasn't the Didn't we already talk about this?" And my philosophy is, if we have to talk about this 100 times a day, an hour, a week, whenever that is, it's okay to do because that's what you're feeling in that moment in time. And like I said, I know that all this stuff is so easily dismissed. I'm glad you're doing okay, monkey. Yes, I hope you get back, are able to come back in. And I know that there's people that are having these other platforms talking about what's going on, and I'm not saying ignore what's going on halfway around the world. My philosophy is we know what's going on around the world, but is that affecting us in our community? Is that affecting us in our what we're paying for gas? Is that affecting us in whether we're going to be able to make this month's rent? Um, are we one step to being homeless? Are food prices out of the way? That's all the things that create what bill am I going to pay, and so forth and so on. And that leads to that hidden anxiety. People who have never dealt with anxiety in their whole life are dealing with it now, and there's no avenues. And if you call a therapy or counseling, excuse me, if you call them, they're so interested in how you're going to pay. when you're having an issue, or if you want to make an appointment, can you get an appointment tomorrow? No, that's not possible. And that's what I want to bring here to this family, because I'm part of another family who gets it. But let's eh, make it bigger. Let's make it so we have that avenue. Let's make it so it's okay that if a man is hurting, or a woman is hurting, or a guy is hurting, it's okay to talk about it. We've had this focus for so long that men don't cry, men don't get upset, men don't have anxiety. They're supposed to be tough. They're supposed to be the provider. How can they be the provider if they're going through mental, physical, and emotional health problems and they can't talk about it because society says it's not happening? Well, you know what? It is happening. We're losing our kids to it because they're not talking about it. They're on the phones. And don't get me wrong, I don't have a problem with people being on the phone, but they're not on the phone, they're not communicating. It's texting, it's TikTok, it's um doing these stupid things that could hurt them. And we're not monitoring those things. And we're having overdoses. Um, it's not even safe to, unless you're getting it from somebody reputable, or a deposit. You know what I mean. You don't have a card or whatever, and you're not getting it from a reputable place to even smoke weed or vape it now. And fentanyl's being put in that. And for the person or kid who's never tried weed and does it for the first time, we're losing them. Drug addiction is 10 times what it was 10 years ago. It was alcohol mostly back in those days. But we're losing people and we're not addressing it. Corruption, crime rate, everything has gone up, and you can't tell me it's not affecting you, because it is. I see it in posts on Facebook. I've seen it in posts in other platforms. And the biggest thing we do is we say when somebody's not feeling well or they're struggling is, I'll pray for you. I'm sorry that's going on. But are we are we really reaching out to those people? That's what I'm offering. I'm offering that because it's important. Because for 2 years, almost 2.5 years in June, we've been sitting in our own stuff and it's not healthy. And it has to be, we have to come out and talk about what we're feeling. We have to have a connection to something, someone to hold on to, someone to talk to, someone who's going to make that difference. Be a part of a group. Um, Come here and be part of this family that I'm building. Like, subscribe, and share. Because when you share this and other people are hearing it and seeing it, they're going to say, yes, oh my God, there's actually somebody addressing something that I'm going through. Imagine that. I'm not alone. And the biggest part of that is we live in this society where we're feeling alone and we're feeling upset and we're blaming the right, the left, the black, the white. I don't care about any of those things. Color and religion and politics have done nothing but divide us. We need to come together because, in all reality, we're human and we're dealing with these things. This is not a platform for slamming other YouTube channels because that's not in my vocabulary. I'm here to help myself and other people who are here. That's drama. I don't need to sit here and talk about X, Y, and Z's platform. It's not accomplishing anything. And then at the end of the day, it's not going to change anything. I want people to come here and feel that they can talk about what they need to talk about, be part of, join our platform. You don't have to show your face because your face is not what I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about what you're feeling, what you've been going through, where you're at, and your story can help me and we can help each other. Too many times I've seen these anxiety and depression groups and surveys about, are you feeling anxiety? Are you feeling depressed and whatever? And then I'll see a post about people who are going through their traumas or their anxiety attack or their panic attack or the depression that's eating them alive. And there's no support system. And that's what I want to bring to this platform, a support system where it doesn't matter what time of the day. If we can grab that support system and we could share out this live that I'm doing 3 times a week, and somebody sees it and says, where has this been? Why isn't there anybody else talking about this? Are we going out into a platform and yeah, it gives us that few minutes of distraction. Distraction can be your TV. It can be TikTok. It can be radio. It can be music. It can be your favorite TV show. But what it isn't doing for you at the end of the day is it's when you come away from those things, when you're done listening to what's going on in the world, not only have you heard what's going on in the world, but it's internalized and you're thinking, well, yeah, I don't want to be ignorant and I know what's going on in the world and I'm being, this is what's happening. And then you have these people who are giving you an end of the world saga that everything's just gonna end. And you take people who are like myself, who go through anxiety and depression, who have cried themselves to sleep at night, who, not in my situation, but people who have kids or a significant other, and you know that you don't want to throw that on them because kids today are going through enough. They've gone through 2 years of having to be out of school away from their friends. And if you don't think that's affecting them, it is. And then you have all this discontent about what we can teach, what we can't teach. Education is education. They want to be kids, but we've taken that away from them because it's so much easier to eliminate. Okay, So the TV has now not become the babysitter. The phones are the babysitter. And it's easy to do because that's the only connection with the world that they have. And we want to walk away from it and be like, they're going to be fine. They're doing great. We need, as an adults, to talk about this and to talk about what's going on with us internally. Um, the depression, the anxiety, the triggers of stuff that happened years ago or happened a year ago or when we were growing up about I hear people touch on that uncle in the family that nobody else is talking about. And yet we've done nothing about it. We're not coming and being able to talk about these things. Let's have a family of the reality of what's going on and how safe it can be. Welcome, Sissy. Yes, I know. The State of the Union's on, and we're going to hear all about what our great president is doing, whether you like him or you don't like him, whether you're into Trump or you're into Biden. And then you're going to have a response, and then you're going to have these media bubbleheads who are going to tell you what you just heard in layman's terms, and you're going to have a lot of the people who are um, going to give you their side of the opinion, and then you get to change the channel, and they're going to give you their side of their what he said, and then you're going to have their competitors who are going to tell you what they think and how terrible what the president said, and it's disheartening because we're not idiots. We know what is going on in our community, but we're not community based. We're not YouTube based in the form of we have to listen to what's going on in Washington. And in our daily lives, we're not talking about that. We're not talking to each other. The communications have gone to nothing. And welcome, Sissy. Welcome, Monkey S. I hope you come back after that. And I know he's on all stations, and I know it's important. And I know we grew up in a world where, you know, I knew we grew up in a world where when the president of the United States comes on TV and talks about the State of the Union, and you have whether that person's Republican or Democrat, and then they do this speech and there's a response from either side, and we're so used to that at people who are in our age range, and then we have all these analysts who were former this that military, all these types of things, um, explaining to you what the man just said regardless of who the president is, and the opposite point of view. It's insulting. It's not going to change what's going on here and now. How many of us are not sleeping at night? How many of us are living in a daily depression that we're having to push through, or having anxiety where you can't feel like you're able to leave the house? You know you have things to do. You know you have places to go. But you know you're in a safe world because you're at home. And yet, even though it's safe to be in your home, the mind is an incredible thing. What it does is it escalates and elevates and everything becomes tenfold of what it was or what it is because we as human beings we have this really messed up thing with our mind that what it does is it escalates because we sit and we ponder and we disassociate with things and we think about it and we overthink everything. What if what's going on in Ukraine and Russia is the start of the end of the world? Back 20 years ago, we had, maybe even longer, we had the USSR. We had a Cold War going on. We had the Cuban Missile Crisis, and we're all still here. No nation in this world wants to start a third world war. So let's get away from that. Let's be sympathetic to these people that things that are going on the other side of the world, it's tragic, it's sad, but and we're caring people, so we want to make a difference, but we're not dealing with what's going on here in our country, in our communities, in our states. We're not dealing with that. We're internalizing everything, and the suicide rate has jumped. We're losing our kids. We're losing the average person between 25 and 45 years of age and younger and older are dealing with anxiety and depression on a daily basis. And it's hard. Can you can you have can you get therapy? Um, can you talk to a psychiatrist? Can you get medications? Sure, if it's been on a regular basis for years. But if you're having issues right now, you have to answer everything about the kitchen sink. You have to have that insurance. Um, and then they have to decide for you whether your insurance is going to pay for 60 minutes of their time. Are you going to have the money, the copay? Are we going to get, is our health not being affected? What, what's really like important to you? You know, what's something that will benefit you and us and grow a family? And then I think that's an important thing. I really do. Um, I really feel like it's an important thing. I think that we need to capitalize on our emotions, how best to deal with them, what's going on with you, what's going on with me. I'm going to be here every other day, and we need to build off of that. We need to express what we're feeling. It's a safe place. I don't have tolerance for baloney, trolls, nothing. we have, you know, we're going to listen to 100 different people's theories and thoughts on what's going on, whether it's worldly or it's picking on one side or the other. And at the end of the day, is it going to matter locally? Is it going to matter in your house, in your emotions, and what's going on with you? For me, I've had to turn it off. Yes, I feel terrible for the people who are going through what they're going through. Again, we're not at the end of the world. This is not the end. This is not biblical. This is not any of that. This has been going on since the turn of the century. This is USSR all over again. Right, wrong, or indifferent, agree, disagree. I'm not here for that. I'm here for what we can do so we're not caught up in it and feeling those things. Yes, it's good to have knowledge. Yes, it's good to be aware with what's going on. And that's fine. But if you are in a mindset where we're elaborating on and we're thinking about things, and eventually something takes hold, and we're thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it, and it's become repetitive, and then the anxiety sneaks in and the depression gets worse because and you get triggered with traumas. It's just not a healthy way to be. Being aware of what's going on in the world, I don't have a problem with. I think that's fine and great. But to an extent, we're having all of this, no matter where you go or what you do or what you turn on, it's just being shoved down our throat 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's YouTube channels covering it 24 hours a day. It's not healthy. I feel bad for those people. I honestly do. But can I live that on a 24-hour basis being the person I am? No, I can't. And I'll be the first to admit that. Can we deal with seeing that our friends and our family and our kids are reaching out for help? Are we aware of that? Are we aware of what's going on in our communities with that? Are we too blind to what's going on in the world? When did we, as a country, as a states, as a communities, when have we backed away from not communicating and listening to each other, and in not only listening. See, I think a big thing of it is we're listening and we need to be heard, but we're not internalizing what other people are saying. We're we've become a dismissive culture. We had other people that we could talk to once upon a time. We had that mom who's out there on that porch when we were coming home from school. We had the street lights going on. We had stuff going on in families that were, and still to this day probably are, hidden from the rest of the world because we keep saying it's okay, you'll get over it. Mental health should be treated like physical health. There's no magic cure out there, but there is things to help us to cope and feel better. And those things we're not addressing. We're not doing that. And that's important. And I'm not here to be a Debbie Downer and tell you that nobody cares, because that's my whole point, is that there is people that care. And if we can build a community and spread that with sharing and liking the videos, then you're going to find that there's people who are going to come to these platforms and they're going to be like, this is what I need. This is what's going on with me. I'm upset, whether it's today for about something that happened today, or it's something that happened yesterday, a week ago, a month ago, years ago. What are we worried about currently? And when you go onto some of these, when you go onto some of these um, platforms, they hear you, they say they're going to pray for you. Why can't we? And why don't we? Not why can't we, but why can't everything starts in this world with I. So for me personally, if I can check in with somebody who's going through a rough time and I can sit there, I can go over to their platform or go to their messenger or comment on their page and saying, geez, I saw your post. I'm here if you need me, and mean that. See, I'm not feeling obligated to do that. I wear my heart on my sleeve and I want to give back, and it doesn't have to be one-sided. And so many people feel like I give and I give and I give and I give and I give of my heart and my soul and I put into people and I'm there for them, and there's no one, and I'm not getting it back when I'm having issues. This is a two-way street. Mental health is important. It's a two-way street. We have to be there for each other. If you're going through a rough time and I see that and I stop by and we talk or we don't talk, or you're not comfortable with that, we're so into the whole texting thing. Texting can be taken 800 different ways. I could be telling you, as an example, have a great day. And you can internalize that as, that was a little sarcastic, or, yeah, that was nice. See, it's all in the interpretation. And we've got away from the in person contact, the I need a hug, I need to sit down with you. Um, we have FaceTime for a reason. I may not be in your location, but we have that for a reason. We have stuff where we can talk face to face. We have stuff where we can, even if you're texting or you're out there in the public and you're in your house, in your four walls, in your mind, and you're reaching out for help and you're saying, I can't do this anymore, and you're not feeling loved. And even if you're feeling loved, your mom loves you, your kids love you, your animals love you, and that's all well and good. But when you're sitting in the dark corners of your room or your house and you've taken on all this responsibility, your responsibility to these people are to take care of them. But who's taking care of you? That's the problem. No one's taking care of you. And we need to build that here, build that in our family. And I don't mean family in the sense of blood, because as we've seen over the last 2.5 years, our families are so divided that we don't even like each other anymore. It used to be over a fight over who got the last turkey leg, or who ate that food, or, stupid stuff, or whatever was going on. Now, because of the C word and the V word, and politically, our families have become distant. They don't want anything to do with us, or we don't want anything to do with them. We need to come back together on here and have a safe place where you can have those feelings. You can talk about those feelings without being judged, without feeling persecuted. And it's okay. It's okay to feel those things. It's an important thing. We need to do that. If I'm having a crappy day and I want to contact somebody and say, you know what, I'm having a rough one. I'm feeling emotional. Um, I'm feeling depressed. And they say, well, why are you feeling depressed? Whatever that trigger for that depression is, can it be cured with a magic pill? No, because in reality, there is no magic pill. And that is a reality. I can smoke all the weed or pot or that I want to. And yes, it takes the edge off. Is it a cure? No. Talking, communicating, expressing your your feelings and being okay to express them is such an essential part of who we are as a human being. I don't discriminate here. I don't care what color, what race you are, what political person you do, what who your God is. I'm here to show you that it's okay to feel what you're feeling. If you're having a good day, that's wonderful. And that's the other side of that coin. If you're having a good day, if things are going well for you, people need to hear that. We're so focused on the negative of everyday life that there's no there's no like positivity. Positivity helps to a certain extent, and you could feel like, and that same person who's having a good day today may not be having a good day tomorrow, and they'll have a place to come and they'll say, you know what, my depression is kicking in, it's affecting my job, it's affecting my kids, it's affecting my relationship with my significant other. I'm sitting here with my, dog, cat, bird, whatever your horse, whatever's going on in your life, and we're finding out that people have lost a loved one long after it's happened, and all we could say is, "I'm sorry, I didn't know." we don't have to go into specifics with that. We can say, or I could say, you know what, so and so is not doing too well. I don't know if they're going to be around tomorrow. And you can be empathetic. And if that time comes, we're so like into this whole um keeping it private. We're If we're truly family and we're truly friends and we're gonna talk about all these things that are going on with us and all the losses that have happened, then we should be able to freely talk about it here or on another platform. And when we're addressed with these issues, whether whatever those issues are, anxiety, depression, PTSD, CPTSD, a loss of a loved one, a loss of a job, not knowing where your next meal is coming from, how are you going to pay your rent? These are things that we've kept so private that we're, instead of addressing them, we've gonna try to handle everything. And we're not looking for that outlet. We're not talking to each other. And communication is so important. And it's gotta be, it doesn't like, I think I'll rephrase it. It's not that it has to be 24/7, but if we can build up enough of people who are truly empathetic to what's going on in our world, be it my world or your situation, and being able to reach out, leave a message for somebody, or if they're live and saying, you know what, I'm in a really tough place, and they respond to you and say, what's going on? I'm here. I love you. And this is something, and you got to truly have that empathy. We're we're in this obliged kind of thing that you see on Facebook, and that's in some of these platforms on Facebook, when people are asking for prayers or they're in the moment of crisis, how many of those prayers and those good thoughts or whatever you're sending them, how much of that is because you know them, you feel obliged to be part of sending that. And when you leave that post and you've moved on, or you've left that um YouTube channel, are you really thinking about that person who's going through a rough time, or those people who are really going through a rough time? Are you dealing with what's going on with you, but you didn't want to say anything because they're going through a rough time? Well, let's work on flipping that, where they're going through a rough time and they get to hear what you're going through, and we're bouncing off each other, and we're becoming a family. And family does not mean blood. Not all the time. It doesn't. They're going to be the most dismissive people in your life because they're going to say, take a pill. I've heard this before. You'll get over it. You're going to be fine. What if that person who is depressed hears that and they're alone and those demons are eating away at them. Parents are losing children because they don't feel comfortable enough to go and talk to their parents, to their friends, because everybody has to be strong. No, you don't have to be strong 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We're not reaching out to each other, and that is a problem. And it's not necessarily an economical problem or a physical problem, but it can get there. How many people have worked with people who they don't talk to anybody? They look sad all the time. Have have any of us been like, you don't know them from a hole in the wall, and you don't have to. But say, geez, you look like, you know, if I'm wrong, that's fine. Tell me. You look like you have a lot in your mind. I'm here if you need me. You know, it's okay to talk about what's going on, and maybe I can help you. We've come out of this 2 year world, and we're angry, and we're built up rage and built up emotions, built up feelings. And the number one killer in this country is going to be drug overdoses, crime, depression, mental health is going to be the killer in this country if we don't start helping each other and starting to help each other now. And that's what I'm going to do here. And if I have to have one person, two people, and nobody, I'm going to be on here every other day because I'm reaching out. And yet I have a place that I can go to that is safe. And I have people that I can contact that are safe. But 3 o'clock in the morning, what's out there? The hotline. And I'm not saying don't use it by all God means. Use suicide hotline. Definitely. And if you really feeling unsafe, go to an ER. I'm not discrediting the mental health community. I'm saying there isn't enough of it. And if we can make a difference here and help each other, we can build this to a family where if you don't want to give out your phone number, hey, Hope, welcome to Trauma Bonding Part 2, Depression and Anxiety. I promised I'd be here, and I'm here. So, welcome, Hope. I'm glad to see you. How are you doing today? How are you feeling? How was your day? But I'm happy to have you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And the sharing part means more than to me than the liking and the subscribing. Because when we're sharing, the more shares we have, the more people we reach, the more people who feel confident enough to come here and not feel isolated and alone. That is one of the biggest problems that we have is feeling that isolation and alone and not having people who we feel will understand us. We don't, and that goes for me. I may be feeling a type of way and I can't I in my mind I am thinking that my day was kind of good. Hope says my day was kind of good up until I started having anxiety tonight. Well, Hope, we're here and we are here and that's what this whole group is going to be about. Anxiety, depression, PTSD. People are not nice in the world, and let's take that a step further and try to be nice. It is so hard to be mean to somebody who's being nice to you. Whether you're in the grocery store, a drive-through restaurant, um, whether you're out and about in the community and saying to people, have a nice day. Um, thank you. How why have we got away from thank you for what you do? I was in the customer service industry for 20 years and we had those few people who I worked in a deli and they said, thank you. Do you know if it was just that one person for that day who said thank you means so much to us. We can make that change and welcome L Yards to the platform. Again, like, share, subscribe if you want to. If you don't want to, that's okay too. But share this out. It's important. And I hope to address you. I go through anxiety. I'm not here to preach on a daily basis. And I do have medication and I do have CBD oil. And that's what works for me. I'm not prescribing. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a counselor. I'm not a therapist. I'm not any of those things. I'm here to bring us into a family, a group, an understanding. Why do we not address these things? Why is it not important? Why is it so dismissive? I know that Hope is here. I'm not dismissing what she goes through. If she wants to talk more about it, she's welcome to. This is what this platform is all about. It's caring and loving and understanding each other's and what's going on in our life and mental health and dealing with trauma. Whatever that trauma is, it's okay. It's okay to feel those things. When you're out in the world, say thank you. Say, you know, that's where I want you to feel obligated. I want you to be able to say thank you when you go to a store or you're welcome and really make somebody's day who may not like their job, who's not making a lot of money. That's important. That one little tiny thing coming from you can make such a difference and it becomes a big thing for people who I used to work in that industry. I That made my day. That one person or two people or whatever. And yet we're living in a society where we're feeling entitled, we're feeling we want to be angry, we want to vent. The world's not right because I'm right. Well, no, that's not a reality because there's other things going on in our lives and we're taking it out on the world and we don't need to be doing that. We need to be talking to each other, communicating with each other. And we have such a lack of that. I want us to be a family. Come up on the platform if you're feeling comfortable to do that. I don't discriminate. I don't have issues with that. Show your face, don't show your face. They say a lot of places say cam up. If you're not comfortable camming up because you're going through something and you want to come up on the platform and you want to talk about it, I'm fine with that. You don't have to turn your camera on. There's no issue with that. We're here to take care of each other. And hope, see, that's what I was talking about the last time I was on. We're having kind of a good day. We've got out and done our things, whether it's your job or you're out taking care of a family member or you had to go pay bills or whatever, and and everybody's good, and you've eaten, and you're sitting back in your house, and all of a sudden out of nowhere your thoughts grab a hold of you, and your anxiety and your depression, and you reach for that medication or your animal if you're not into medications or whatever, and that works temporarily. And you've maybe not been able to get in touch with your therapist or whoever that may be. That's what I'm going to do 3 times a week. I'm going to be on here to help you help me to help you, and that's what we should be doing. There is so much anger and people not being nice to each other out in the world. It only brings us down. For the first time today, when I was out and I held the door at a store for these 2 young ladies, they smiled and they were appreciative. That's not happened over the 2 years. And I'm not asking for a gold star. I'm not asking for a pat on the back. What I'm saying is that's what we need to do, whether it was 2 women or it was a guy or guys. Can't we start to change this world back into being kind? The smallest, kindest thing that we can do is take care of each other, even if it's just holding a door open for somebody, whether you're at the post office, wherever you're going, a grocery store. Help somebody put their stuff in their car. They could be having the crappiest day in the world. Tell them that they look nice. Say hello. It's okay to do that because whether you get that back in a response or not, they're going to be like, I don't know who that person was, but wow. And it gets them thinking and so forth and so on. But for this time, in these times that I'm on here, I want to build a safe haven where if you're feeling like crap or you're going through a depression and there's no one else around to talk to, we as a family are here. I'm here. And what I go through, I've cried myself to sleep. And I know that yes, yes, Hope. Hope says yes, my anxiety usually starts at night, but sometimes it acts up in the daytime. Yeah, absolutely. If We're not occupied. Um, I could be in my car, I have my tunes going, and I could be going to run errands or going to get a coffee or say hello to somebody. My heart can be stopped building out of my chest and the anxiety creeps in, but I'm driving, and people have literally given up driving for that reason. But I know that those destinations are important to get to, so I have to fight my way through it. But if you don't have anywhere to go and your mind takes over and you're sitting on your couch or you're making dinner or you're doing the laundry or you're taking care of, the kiddos or going about your daily life, it can sneak up and bite you in the ass. I'm not going to tell you differently. I have been there. I've woken out of a nap. I go to sleep. I'm fine before that nap. I go to sleep. I wake up. Oh my God, what's going on? My mind's going a mile a minute. My heart's beating out of my chest. Is it really? No, it's not beating out of my chest. But does it feel like it? Yes. Am I shaking all over? Absolutely. Am I worried about tomorrow? Yeah. Am I worried about what's going to happen in the next hour? Yes, because we have ingrained that. When Hope says, when you have your day, do you like when you have your when you okay, sorry, tongue twisted tonight. When you have do you like to be at home? It feels like it though. Okay, so as formerly being a person who was Mr. Social Butterfly, um, being at home can be a good thing, and being at home can be a really bad thing. It because regardless of what room you're on in your house, those feelings and that anxiety is still there, and if we're not finding a distraction, and we know we're going to be okay, because that is so dismissive in this community, in the mental health community. Can you call an aunt, an uncle, a mother, a friend, your significant other, your kids, and saying, mom's having a rough time, dad's having a rough time. 9 out of 10 times, they're busy with their life, and we get that. We honestly do, and I could say we because that is the whole thing. We know that they have life outside of us, and yet not realizing it and realizing it at the same time is that I need somebody now to help me through this. And that availability is not always there. Do I want to curl up on my couch? Am I able to do that? Am I having physical issues going on with me? Hope says, because sometimes when I know I'm going to be coming home from somewhere, it starts because I think to touch on that, I think it's that preemptive thought of I'm coming home to the same house, to the same issues, to the same problems, and I'm that's my trigger. And I think as the weather gets warmer, maybe kind of for me this year, I'm gonna try like a garden type of thing, um, barbecuing type of thing. Hope says, I think I it might be because I know I have a lot of stress here. Exactly. 100%. You know, it's just like the person who works a 9 to 5 job or a 6 to 2 job or whatever their hours are, and they know they're coming home and and they don't know what they're walking into, and then the triggers begin. And triggers can be anything from um, what's happened in the past to what's happening, what we're overthinking what's going to happen when we get home. And we are good at that. We're good at analyzing every possible situation that's going on at home before we even get there, before we even walk in the door. And 9 out of well, I'm gonna give it a 50-50 on that. I'm gonna say that what we think those responsibilities and overthinking is detrimental because when we get there, we're not we're looking for them. We're looking for those issues, um, not consciously, but subconsciously in the back of our minds, we're thinking the worst. The worst is going to happen. We're going to walk in the door and our place we live in is going to be, oh my God, a mess. Or it reminds us of a trauma, or it reminds us of being alone. It reminds us of the last part of anxiety that we've gone through, the last time it happened, what we have to do, who we have to talk to. Are we living in a family situation? Are we not living in a family situation? And so forth and so on. And the closer we get to our house, the more we're thinking about it. And by the time we've got to our house, we've got ourselves so wired that walking in that door, we're ready. Our whole physical being and mindset is already there. Okay. And we have to back that up and know that when we leave the house to go do whatever we have to do, and we're occupied for that amount of time, whether it's 5 hours or 4 hours or everything. Angie, I think we're all criminals and been in Facebook jail. Welcome to the platform. I love you. I'm glad that you're here. Please like, share, and subscribe, but share more, but more importantly, because we need to reach out to people who don't have anyone and anywhere to for people to talk to. But we have YouTube, Angie, and we have each other, and that's what I'm going to do 3 days a week is we're going to be here to help each other, whether it's a physical sickness, an emotional sickness, a mental sickness. We can be a family who is a real family. And someone once said, well, I like nobody loves me, or I'm not feeling loved. I love you. And I told you this so you know who I'm talking about. I care about you as a human being. It doesn't have to be romantic. It doesn't have to be physical, but it can be emotional. We don't have the emotional outlets to deal with what's going on in our mental health life. Angie says, hope I told someone that she's better be safe in Florida or I will hurt her. But I was joking. It's friend that knows her, the friend that knows that. Yeah, Facebook's been insane. It blocked like four of us that belong to the same group off of my channel. And I got notifications from other people that said, "Why did you block so and so?" And I last night, um, after I was off another platform, I had to go into my Facebook. I had to go into my phone and re-add them to my friends list. I don't know what's going on. It's a Facebook thing. So yes, I understand that. Um, but we have, just because you don't have Facebook doesn't mean you don't have Messenger. And it doesn't mean you don't have YouTube. And it doesn't mean you don't have TikTok. And I'm going to advise people to go to TikTok. Yeah, there's some fun stuff on there. I'll give you that. And there's some stuff that'll make you laugh. Um, but as I was saying earlier, and I'm going to sound like a broken record, we have YouTube, and let's use it for what it was meant for. Let's use it for, on my platform, let's use it to help make mental health awareness an important part of our community and become a family where we can reach out to each other in the good days and in the bad days. What triggers you? And it's okay to talk about what triggers you, be it from 10 years ago or currently, because there's somebody else in the comments, or maybe there's something that I can help you with. But understand something, when you're reaching out for help and we're able to do that for you, when I reach out for help to you, I want you to be able to not drop everything, but I want to be able to feel comfortable enough to say to you, you know, this is what's going on in my day. It really sucked. I had these nightmares of past things. My anxiety levels up to the 10th degree. I don't know what I'm doing. My depression is at wit's end. I've called places and I've talked to people around, and I'm not getting any answers. And I really need you to reach out, and I really need you to listen. Can you do that? Do you have the time to do that? And if you don't, is there a better time for me to reach out to you and talk to you about that? And then give back, because This cannot be a one-sided adventure and a support system. Even when you're going to a therapist, it's one-sided. They're dealing with their own crap, and that's why they picked that field to be in. But at the end of the 60 minutes, it's another person and another, and their 60 minutes goes by, and it's another person. And with the way things are financially, when and I know, hope you heard this, and I know that other people have heard this, but when has mental health become a doctor's appointment? When has your insurance come before what's going on in your mental health? When are we doing co-pays? Isn't what's going on with us right there, right now, in that minute, in that second, isn't that what's important? And if you go to a ER, I'm not knocking you, but I'm going to tell you what to expect at that ER. You're going to go in, they're going to do all the vital signs. When I'm having, Hope says, when I'm having anxiety, hoping I can find some videos to laugh at to get my mind off some stuff. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And that's true, Hope. Sometimes distractions do help, and sometimes they don't. And I'm not knocking any distractions, because any therapist in the world is going to tell you, and I'm sure you've heard all those DIY things. Turn on the TV, find something funny, go to your favorite music, find something to calm yourself down, pace in your house, whatever works for you. And that's great and all, but if that's not helping you, where do you turn? Do you what's there? What is happening? Um, and that's what I want to provide for myself as well as you, and have you as my family and true family, not the baloney. It's become so retrofit to, I'm not, I sympathize. I feel bad that you're going through that. I'm praying for you. I'm, you know, I'm going through A, B, and C myself. And then that makes, okay, for me, see, I'm going to talk about what's going on for me. Okay. So if I'm having a hard time and I'm listening to somebody talk about their stuff, and I'm saying, and people in that group, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube or it's wherever it is, if I'm in that space and I want to take that in and I want to listen to what they have to say, and I see somebody come in the comments and they greeted and they said hello, how you doing, and then you proceed to say how you doing, and the first thing out of their mouth is, I'm praying for you. I'm sorry that you're going through that. Are you generally sorry? Are you generally praying for them? Are you thinking about them later on in the day after you're done doing what you need to do? Or do you feel an obligation to say that? And yes, it's an acknowledgement, and I get that. I really do get that, because you have two sides of that coin. You have the dismissive side with that coin, with You'll get over it. You've been through this. We've heard it a million times. Or you have, "Hi, how are you?" And then you proceed to tell them and they say, "Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm praying for you." Isn't that another form of being dismissive? "Yeah, yeah, I heard what you said, but, so I'm gonna tell you, you're in my thoughts, I'm praying for you." So it's kind of a double-edged sword, it's kinda like, yes, this person acknowledged me, and they said a few kind words. So for that moment in time, yeah, it kind of feels, it feels good. I'm not gonna lie. Um, but are they gonna go on in their world? And I'm not saying they shouldn't, and I'm not saying they should drop everything to help you because that's not how the world works. And I get that. But if they could check in with you in an hour, a couple hours, and it doesn't have to be anything fancy, send a message, ring their phone, drop them an email and say, "I went back and I looked at the video, I checked it out, and I saw that you were going through a hard time. I'm checking on you. I love you. I care about you. And I was just wondering how you were doing." That, and if you're in a better space at that time, you could say, "You know what? Thank you. I appreciate that. I was having a really hard time, and this means so much to me that with everything going on in your life, you took out a minute just to see if I was okay." And we're not doing that. We're not. We're we're throwing out these platitudes of, okay, you know, you're you're having physical issues, you're headed to a medical appointment. You're having emotional issues and you're not in a good space. I'll say a prayer for you, um, and move on with their day and with all the people, because and then other people in that stream of that group are going to come up with the same thing, and you're going to have 100 people telling you that they're praying for you and that they're concerned about you and so forth and so on. 9 out of 10 of those people are only doing it because the Joneses are doing it. It's like you bought a new car and the person next door to you sees that new car, you have a conversation, and what do? They go out and they buy that same car. So it's, well, because Jack and Jill said, "I'm sending prayers." I don't want to be, that one person who didn't say that, you know, I didn't send out any prayers or thoughts, so I got to be a bad person. No, see, that's fake. And if you're not seeing that, and when you're getting off of that live and you're going through other posts, and regardless of whether it's on YouTube or TikTok or any one of them or Facebook, you're going to see that. You're going to see that. There's going to be a whole strip of things, whether it's somebody who's at their end of their rope, figuratively, I'm hoping, um, who's dealing with anxiety or depression or There's stuff going on in their family, their kids sick, their husbands are sick, their significant others are sick, a family member is sick. Um, are we going back and checking on them? One of the things I heard today, um, being out in the Facebook world, is I haven't seen you in a long time. Well, weren't you checking on them? A 2 minutes of your day to say, geez, it's been a couple of days. Are you okay? Is everything going all right? And if everything's been going okay, then that's great. But are we investing in each other enough to have that conversation? We're not, because and that's not a knock to anybody else, because there's a few of us who are out in the Facebook world and out in the YouTube world who are genuine about that. But what I want to do is I want to build this into a family where we can contact each other, whether it be message or FaceTime. Um, and it doesn't matter what time of the day it is. A few words, and if you can't get to them at that moment, when you wake up and you check your phone, because we are gonna check our phone. We're gonna do a couple of things. We're gonna get up, we're gonna make coffee, tea, water, whatever your thing is. Maybe we're gonna take our kids to school, maybe we're gonna go to our job, but we're gonna see on that phone that there's a message there. And if you take 2 seconds out of that and you say, I saw your message, I'm gonna I, I will get back to you at such and such a time. And if I don't, then maybe you can contact so and so. So we're building a foundation where none of us are feeling alone. And it's okay to talk about that, because I'm not going to be on here 24 hours a day. But if someone needs me and it comes up on my phone, or we just want to shoot the shit, that's okay too. But if somebody comes to me and say, my I'm stressed, I had a bad day at work, or this is what happened, I have a family member who's sick, why is it I'm going to address that. Why has that become such a hidden thing? I have a friend that I care about very much, and I find out 3 or 4 days later that they've lost a family member. I'm not asking you to broadcast your business, but if you're hurting and you don't have somebody to talk to, I'm here. I can't maybe financially help you, but emotionally, I can support you. And that is a big thing. If I have a family member in a hospital and they're going through a tough time, and you're trying to be strong for that person, and you do that, who's being strong for you? How many of us have dealt with that in the past, where you had to be the end all, the be all for your kids and for your uh significant other, husband, daughter, son, uh, cousin, grandparent, another friend, who they've walked away from you, and you feel that loss because they were your go-to person, and you could talk to them about anything that was going on, and they're not there. They've walked away. They've talked about you. You don't want to be friends with them because all they are is a big problem, and it gets back to you and it hurts you to your core. And people have experienced that. And I'm not going to say it doesn't hurt because it hurts like a son of a bitch. But there's going to be somebody, and that builds trust issues. And that brings us to where we are today. We don't trust anybody enough to say, I know I'm going through a tough time. I'm hurting. My heart is hurting. I'm upset. I'm losing my mind, and I just need a minute. I can you c- can we sit down? Can we go for a coffee? Um, can we FaceTime? That whole lack of communication has just gone out the window. Anyone that's in this room, if you so let it start with me. I'm not hypocritical. I'm not going to blow smoke. This is not a sermon. I am not a licensed social worker. I am not a therapist. I am not a psychiatrist. I'm not a psychologist. But I will say to you, I am here. And if you have my contact information, feel free to use it. It's important. And I'm not going to blow you off. But at the same time, if I come to you and you're busy dealing with your life, because outside of this, what we need to understand is people have jobs to go to, family to take care of, um, things to do, places to be, and that's okay. That's perfectly fine that they have those things, but we can't be like selfish about it either. Um, and ask them for a time that is better for them. And if you have to pour your heart out, that's okay to do that. Pour your heart out because it helps. Well, it helps me anyway. That's what I'll say. It helps me to be able to talk to you, to be able to talk to other people, and have them respond to each other. Um, and maybe I'll learn something from what they've been through. And instead of going in that blame kind of thing of, well, it's because of so and so. Well, it might be because of so and so, but we're the ones who are internalizing it, and we're beating ourselves up physically, mentally, and emotionally. We are doing that. We are kicking our own ass because then we're getting into a situation where um, we start to overanalyze things and say, well, they didn't have time for me because there's something wrong with me. I'm going through this because I'm not a good enough friend. Um, the world sucks. I didn't do something. I didn't say something right. I'm this terrible, rotten, awful person. I could have been a better parent. I could have been a better friend. I could have been a better mom. I could have been a better dad. I could have been a better person. That goes into that whole perspective of the depression angle. We are the best at beating the shit out of ourselves. We are our own worst enemy. We are we could win if there was an Olympic gold for it, we'd win every time. And when we're trying to help each other or help somebody, they need to listen and not need to listen. It helps when they take in the perspective of how we're trying to help them. And if they snap back at you, that's okay. Don't take that personal because they're going through something. And maybe we're not like in their mind, we're not getting it. And they're saying, have never been there. You don't understand how I feel. And if that is truly the situation, you could say, you know, I may not understand how you're feeling, but explain it to me so I can better understand it. And I'm here to listen. I'm here to give you a hug. If you need a hug, I'm here for it. I'm I'm not only here to listen, I'm here to really understand where you're coming from. And they're gonna tell you maybe you're full of shit. And that's okay because they're lashing out because they're going through whatever they're going through and they're having a hard time. And because this has happened to them so many times in the past, that people are saying they understand. And then when the time comes for them to reach out again, they felt like they never were understood to begin with. So if you have that situation, um, write it down maybe, write it down so that's something you can go back to and say, that's what they're going through, whether it's a marital breakup, whether it's a divorce, whether you're um having child custody problems, whether it's whatever that is that they're going through. Maybe it's a loss of a job, a loss of a family member. Remember those things. You know, make it important enough that you're they know that when they need you, and you can have that friendship ongoing, but when they are in that space, you can sense it and pick up on it and go, geez, you're not yourself today. What's going on? And you go for a drive, or maybe you're texting, or um maybe you got out for a coffee, or you run into this person and they're just not the same person, and they're trying to hide it, and yet you see it in the way they're walking, in the way that their heads down, or whatever that situation may be. If you can make that happen for those people, and you're getting and they recognize that same thing in you, that bond, and that's like a trauma bond, is for people to recognize that you're not okay. And there's nothing wrong with being not okay. We have that whole being not okay is not okay. Since when is being not okay not okay? I mean, think about that. If you break your leg and you go to the doctors and the doctor says you're going to be okay, is your leg not still broken? It needs to be fixed? Well, it's the same thing with mental health. If we're not addressing it and we're not there for each other, and this is what this group has to be built on. Well, I'll be watching YouTube and TikTok videos. Well, Angie, I don't think Facebook's really giving you an option on that one. um, do you know that I'm kind of all over the place tonight? But do you know that the age bracket for Facebook is 35 and up, and that's why it's falling apart? Do you realize that? The kids are not interested in Facebook anymore. They're into We have built them into a world of instant gratification. And that's what TikTok is. TikTok is that instant gratification, showing off for their friends, stuff we used to do back in the day without a phone in our hand. And some of the videos are funny. I get sent them on my Facebook and in my messenger sometimes, and I'm dying. I'll tell you, I am absolutely dying. It's great. It can be really funny. Um, but that can only help you for so long. And I think that's why we need to build on this group. We need to be here for each other. I can't stress that enough, and I'm gonna keep beating it into the wall and repeating it because it's necessary. Share this video out. The people who are here. I'm grateful for each and every one of you, and I love you. Now let's take that and share it out there. There's thousands and hundreds of thousands of people who are out there and don't know that this exists. And I'm not looking for views. I'm not looking for being monetized. I hear those words thrown around all the time. I want to be able to help me help them, to help you, to help each other. And that's what we need to do as a group, as an individual, because we're losing people. I can't emphasize that enough. If we don't see somebody in a group that we belong to, um, we need to check on them. We need to let them feel that it's okay to come here to that other platform and not cover everything up. If you're going through hell, damn it, say you're going through hell. You're not having a good day. You're not sleeping at night. You lost a loved one. That's what we're here for. I don't have a PhD in this, but I have a heart of gold in this. And there's resources out there. And if I don't have them for you, maybe somebody else who is in the comment section or comes to the platform or belongs to another organization. Maybe they can help you get the resources you need so when I wake up tomorrow morning, I don't find out that the world caved in on you and all you wanted to do is reach out and you're another person who I've lost because your dark clouds moved in and you didn't think anybody could help you or care about you or understand you or your depression has overwhelmed you. You've done everything that you possibly could think in your mind has taken hold and nobody cares about you. Nobody wants to hear it. There's no way out. And I'm telling you, there is. We are here. There's a hotline. There's an ER. It does not. If you're at that point in your life and this is not enough for you, get professional help. Use the hotlines. Use an ER. We're in this scared, angry world. Reach out. People care. There's going to be these idiots who are going to come into they're going to come into these platforms and they're going to make fun of people. Those same people, in their own sick way, who are making fun of people who are in there. Why do you think that they're in there? In their own sick mind, they're in there because something is bringing them back to to know that these people need help, and those trolls. And I'm not going to have them in here because um I do have people with wrenches. You get sickening and stupid, you're gone. But as far as if you can carry yourself and talk about what's going on with you and talk to other people in the chat, that is great. Share this out. Be human. Humanity has come to this point of being judgmental about everything, and it has to stop. Look at that person over there. They look so sad. Have you stopped by and you're out and about? It's cold or it's hot and they're all alone. Have we stopped by or have we walked by? There's a child out there by themselves or in a car or an animal. What are we doing? Does our life matter all so much that we're caught up in this? I don't want to get involved. That person who's sitting on the corner could have just lost their house, their job. They could have gotten a fight with their family member. They're feeling down and out. Reach out is not just community based. It's not it's not an organization. And yes, I love Hot Mess Express. I love Summer like a sister. I would give anything in the world to be there for her. And I would go out every Wednesday night if I was within reach to do that. And everything that she does in her community. But what I'm saying is it it takes a village. We even people we don't know. Do you know? I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you an example. And a lot of YouTubers talk about examples of their life. Okay. When I was coming up, no, that's not what I'm going to tell you. I was in high school and I took the public bus because I felt a lot more comfortable on it. And yes, I was bullied, so we took the public bus, and there was 3 or 4 of us that took the public bus to and from home. And my ex-wife, back in the day, we were teenagers, and she was with her friends, and we took the bus day in the morning, in the afternoon, whatever, the public transportation. And one day, she was by herself, and she had her head down, and she was looking sad. And we haven't really conversated. Hi, Panay. Welcome. Welcome. If you've looked at the title, then you know what's going on. Um, and I met her and I started talking to her and I said, it's none of my business, but you're looking down. You seem upset. Do you feel like talking about it? You don't have to give me any great details, but and we became good friends. And over time, we became closer. We were on the phone, and I met her friends, and she met my friends, and so forth and so on. And we were boyfriend and girlfriend for an amount of time, and then we went our separate ways, and then ended up back together and whatever. But my point with that story is that I took 2 minutes out of my day waiting for a bus and saw that somebody seemed upset, distraught, and was going through something. And I didn't care at that point what it was. And I wasn't hitting on her. I wanted to help. I wanted to reach out and help. My God, there's only one Summer Dickinson Hot Mess Express with Summer Dickinson in the whole world. But there's also a Gary. And there's other YouTubers who care. But I want to see more of them. But for my platform, I care. And I want you to be able to come here and I want you to be that person I met on the corner, on the street, or somebody I know who isn't coming out and talking about what's going on with them, who hasn't heard people say, you'll get over it. It's going to pass. I gave you advice. You didn't listen and look where you're back at. There's domestic violence issues going on. There's suicide going on. There's more drug use. We're losing people to overdoses. We're losing people to drug addictions that may or may not have been caused by the fact that they have nobody to talk to. Panay, Missy, yes, always, but you know what? Beyond always nice to, she says, always nice to people, but it has to be authentically being nice to people. It can't be fake bullshit. It's pseudo being nice to people is not real. And if you don't think that they don't know that, you're losing your mind. Excuse me. They know. They know that you're not being authentic. And all that in the world. Panay says YouTube should be make we should make connection and care about the people. Absolutely. But we're dismissive because 9 out of 10, okay, I don't know how many YouTubes there are in the world, but I'm going to use that as an example. They're going to sit there and they're going to tell you how bad somebody else is or how good somebody else is. And they're going to tell you their life story. In that moment in time, when you enter that room, whether it's YouTube or it's Facebook, when you enter those rooms and you're going through something and they acknowledge that you came into that room and how are you today? And again, I'm going to repeat what I said earlier. And you say okay or I'm good or had a rough day. As a YouTube person who has a channel, I myself can only do so much, and I can tell you, and I can talk to you back and forth, and that's great, and that's wonderful. Is there somebody else in the comment section who can or is on the platform who I might not see, or somebody who's on the platform who can give you and say, I understand. Let's talk about this. Maybe we could have you come up on the platform and pour your heart out. There's no judgment here. I'm going to love you regardless. And share this out. Like and share. And if you want to subscribe, subscribe. And if you don't want to subscribe, that's fine too. But like it and share this. Share this platform. I'm going to be here 3 times a week. I'm going to be here probably for the next 2 to 3 hours. I don't know right this second. But there's going to be somebody in the comments who are going to be going through the same thing that you're going through, or a certain part of that, or has been triggered, and yet you may not be able to identify with their trigger, but you've been triggered too, and helping each other. That's what we need to do. We need to help each other. We talk all over each other. We get in these platforms and we're not respecting each other. If we took the time to listen and intake what each other was saying and process it and be here to help them, we could be in a better place where color and political view and ethnic ethnicity, oh my god, that was a big word, doesn't matter, and what you believe doesn't matter, then we would have the family that we need and desire. I can only me I can be here. I go through anxiety. I go through depression. I don't have PTSD, but I understand it. Can I say to somebody who's having a PTSD episode, I know how you feel? No, because that's fake. That's bullshit. Can somebody who doesn't, I have anxiety and depression. Can somebody who doesn't have anxiety and depression say, I hear you, and I'm trying to understand it, and I'm gonna research it and see, and they don't have to tell you that, but they can research it and be like, my God, I see all these people on Facebook when I'm going through, and I'm going through, and I'm going from post to post to post to post till I find some good drama to look at. Oh, And yet, how many people have we passed by who are questioning what's going on with them? How many people are on medications who are asking for help? How many people who say, I can't do this anymore, and yet they're reaching out for help and there isn't an answer? When you're having it tough and the world seems to be coming to an end, there is people out in this world who honestly and truly care. And that's why this is what this platform is going to be about. We're going to be a family if it kills me, and it just might. But even if I had zero and I was talking to myself right now, there's going to be somebody who's going to see this video and go, oh my God, I felt that way, or I feel that way. Or if you come up on the panel and you're going through something, there's going to be somebody out there who sees it and they identify it and they've been there and they're going to want to come here, or and they're going to want to see if that same person is on here and they can talk to them, be it in the chat, on their messenger, in their TikTok, whatever connection, and they can have that bond. We need mental health bonding like you read about. It's food for the soul, and we've got away from it, and we need to make a difference. And I wanted to start with making that difference. I've gone from channel to channel to channel to channel, and it's all about the creator. And that's not in all cases, but in most. I vicariously lived through Summer because Summer can only do so much. She has a life. She is doing a million things for her community. She, if you've ever read what she goes through, some of her posts, people have no conception, and she talks about it, what she's gone through and where she's been. And kudos to her. I could never have come out of that world that she's lived in and be where she is today. That's amazing. And I look up and I respect her. She's my sister, but I need to do this. Some people, Panay said, some people need somebody to talk to and listen and care. That's true. Yeah, it is. We need to build that into our communities. And whether it's community where you live or it's community on YouTube or Facebook, the degrade, oh my God, putting each other down, for a better term, is not helping anybody. If somebody likes Trump, then they like Trump. If somebody likes Biden, then they like Biden. And Hope says, Summer is amazing and I love her very much. And she loves you, and so do I. And I mean that. And that's the thing. We have to mean what we say. We have to be honest and open with the way that we feel about somebody. And a lot of people associate trauma bonding with obsession. because when you're in a world of hurt and you're going through a tough time and that person is not available, it's not because they're not available for you, it's because they have things going on in their life and they're not dismissing what's going on. And so we latch on and we create this person to be the end all and be all, and that's because there isn't enough of us out here doing this. We're not talking about it. We're not investing our time in people who really matter. We we're not doing that. We're so caught up in the whole drama-based communities. We have enough drama going on in our lives on a daily basis. Why is that such a draw? Because you can take all of what you're feeling from that day and throw it onto somebody who's having a worse day than you are, or because you're going to judge them for not looking like you do, or because they've had a tougher life, you're going to throw your stuff on them because they're not, quote unquote, there for you 24/7. That's not fair and it's not cool. But when we are on, we are giving of ourselves and our soul. I'm trying, I'm feeling things. I want to go out there and I want to be able to reach people who are having that tough time. There's people all over Facebook who are having a hard time. There's people all over YouTube who are having a hard time. There's people who are sitting in their houses alone and they're on a YouTube and they're not, and they come on and they're on for a minute or a half hour or an hour and nobody's talking to them. They wouldn't be reaching out if they didn't want to have a conversation and know that their lives mattered. And I know that sounds cliche from the protests, but your life matters. What you're feeling, what you're going through, that matters. Believe it or not, it matters. If you're depressed, it matters. If you're going through anxiety, it matters. If you're angry, it matters. If you're having PTSD, it matters. If you've lost a family member, it matters. It doesn't have to be a hidden thing. If you've lost a child and you're the parent of that child and you're having a hard time, it matters because I can't imagine that. Knowing that my son in 10 days is going to be 18 years old and knowing he's doing okay, I could never imagine what it feels like to be a parent and outlive my child. No, I could never imagine that. But it matters. You matter. What you're feeling matters. What you're going through in your life matters, and it shouldn't be dismissed. You have a platform to come to. If you have a therapist that you see weekly, if you have medication that you're on, take it. If you have a best friend that you can call, do that. If you don't have that and you have a million things going on in your day, at the end of that day, if you're not able to be comfortable in your own skin, get on here. Find us. Find a distraction, whether it's, you know, TikTok and it, that only lasts for so long. Find somebody who is invested in you. We need that investment in each other because just like the plague that's come through and hopefully is coming to an end, mental health is the new pandemic. And we need to address those things. If I'm going through a tough day and I'm having a hard time, I want to know that I can reach out to somebody and they need to know that they can reach out to me and let that chain keep going. Why are we hiding what's going on in our world and sitting with it? Like I said, I have somebody, and I'm not going to put their name out there, but I have somebody that I care about who has helped me greatly in other ways. And they lost a family member. Now, I can't help them financially, but I can help them if they came to me and they said, "This is what happened." I can hear them out. I can laugh with them and I can cry with them. And it doesn't have to be a secret. I need to let these people know that I am there for them. And if it's a shitty time, too bad. If I'm having a bad day and somebody comes to me with that type of situation, I can step back and say, "Okay, well, let's talk. Let's let yeah. If you need to cry, that's okay too." Um, my depression is really bad. I'm hurting, and I can sit there and listen, and I can talk to them, and I can answer them, and I can share their feelings. I I everybody's depression and everybody's PTSD and everybody's anxiety and everybody's stress is different. But in reality, the fact is we're all hurting one way or another. And that's why we need to build this group. We need to take care of each other. We need to share out this video. Subscribe again if you want to. I'm not going anywhere. Um, I said I'd be here, and I'm here. I love the people in this group. Hope says I lost my oldest brother December 15th. The youth they probably remember, and it still hurts really bad. And Hope, you know how to contact me away from here. And for people who have felt those same things in chat or have lost a family member, that's what we're going to do. That's what we're here for. Hope anytime, 24 hours a day. Talk about it. Feel free to contact me. You know how to reach me off of this here. That's what I'm talking about. We are we are so caught up in the I can't tell anybody what I'm feeling. They're not going to get it. They've never lost a family member. they've never been through my hell. They've never had to survive things that I can't even imagine that they've survived. And that's insanity. It really is. It's insanity in the fact that they're stronger for it, they're better for it, and they've done they're done amazing things in their life, but they're dealing with it on a daily basis. All our mental health is not the same, but they're doing it, and I'm proud of that person. And for people who are lost and they're out here reaching out for help, that's what we're here for. That's all I'm asking. We need to truly care and love each other. And that's why it's important. I mean, yeah, we need that break of laughing and joking and having, not so serious conversation, here and there. And I get that. And it's actually a healthy thing. If I came on tonight and everybody was having a good day, that's what we'd be talking about. So there's nothing wrong with being okay, and I don't want people to get the wrong um, feeling about that. But what I am saying is there's something wrong with when we're not talking about when we're not okay. What are we doing about it? Who are we reaching out to? Why is it such a big secret that we're not doing okay? And why are we dismissing the people who are not okay? If you're not okay and you're having a hard time, you know what makes it worse? Somebody saying, I've heard this before. You'll get over it. It's in your head. It'll go away over time. Yeah, you know, people die every day. Ha- Now we need to turn that around to it matters. It matters if you're having anxiety. It matters if you're depressed. And if you're depressed, then let's talk about why you're depressed and see if we can help you, even if it's not with words, even if it's with just listening to people and just taking the time to understand people, not having to be from a male perspective, not having to be okay all the time because I'm not okay all the time, and that's okay too. For any man that's listening to this, it's okay not to be okay. You're human. You may have a bad day at work. You may have situations going on in your life with your family. And that could be immediate or that could be your own family. You may be having a drug problem, an alcohol problem. Your depression could be from years ago when you went through something. And maybe you don't think that anything's going to help you. Maybe you don't, but there is things that are going to help you. And I'm reaching out because it's important. That dark corner doesn't have to be dark anymore. There is a light to wanting to live and getting, if you need professional help, call the suicide hotline. Go to your local ER, call your therapist, and if they're not available and you we build a network, we can network somebody 24 hours a day who can pick up the phone, text message you back, set up a time so we're not alone anymore. The biggest pandemic that's happening every single day is mental health. And if you think the cops are going to solve it, they're not trained to. If you think that other people are out there that are going to solve it and charge you $85 for 60 minutes of your time are going to solve it, it's not going, that's not a reality. Is it going to help for the 60 minutes? Sure. How, if you've been with a therapist and it hasn't been a revolving door and you've built up a relationship with them, that's great. But what do you do in the 7 days in between? If you're seeing them on a weekly basis or a monthly basis, what are you doing on that 30 days where you're going through hell and you're lost? And you can call, and there's usually a connection there that you can call, but those people on the other side of the line, they're going to give you one or two options. They're going to say, call the crisis hotline, or, if what is the first thing you hear when you call any therapist or office? If this is an emergency, call 911. If I was having an emergency like that, if I was feeling suicidal, yes, that's exactly what I would do. I would call 911. Why am I not calling? I'm calling you because I need help. Okay. And they'll say, well, so and so is booked for the day. Get their voicemail. If you have that, grab and leave a message. And if you don't get an answer, when you see them again, you ask and you say, look, I left you a voicemail and I know I'm not your only client, but you didn't get back to me. And I know you're busy, but why didn't you get back to me? Because you didn't have the time? Something was going on in your life? Or was it because I'm just another 60-minute client? And if you build up a relationship with that person, you should be able to be honest and open and frank with them and say that. But if you're on this platform and you're not feeling it, and this is your just losing your mind, it's okay. I don't have a 60-minute time limit. And if you know how to get in touch with me, great. If you can build that in this family, then that's what we're going to do. We're going to have a contact chain. Like, share this video, subscribe only if you want to, but share it. I emphasize you share it. It's important. Yeah, Yulia said, good evening. Nice to catch your live podcast. Welcome, Yulita. 50 minutes these days. And isn't that the truth? And have anybody ever sat in a mental health office with your therapist, psychologist, counselor, whatever their title was, and they get a phone call reminding them that you only have X amount of time left? And then you see it in their face because they look at their watch or the clock that's on the table. And so, whatever that relationship or conversation was, is now being timed out. And they're writing in their book. Now, are they writing in their book about what's going on with you? Or are they writing in their book that Joe Schmo or Sandy or Darcy or whoever is going to be the next client, and this is what their issues are? So I have to think about that ahead of time, and I'm not going to decompress. It's just going to be um, like when you go to the doctors, they get you on a 15-minute schedule. So in 15 minutes, you got to tell them everything that possibly could possibly going on with you. You have to bring a list and you have to go in through it in 15 minutes. And you know what? That's not reality. Mental health is not 60 minutes or 50 minutes or 30 minutes. And a lot of times you'll get them on the phone, you'll get the receptionist who'll say, I can book you on Friday, but they only have 30 minutes. What do you do between today is Tuesday and you're going to see them on Friday or Monday or Tuesday of next week? What do you do with everything you're going through? You sit with it, or a breathing exercise. Yeah. And again, that's a DIY thing. Yes, there is people who have been successful with that. It's people that it does work for. Distractions are great. I'm not knocking the mental health profession. I'm saying that at the end of the day, when they've seen 50 clients, you are not on their mind. They are not worried about you. The first thing any therapy or psychiatrist office thinks about is what's your insurance, billing information, your social security number. When has that become, and sure, it's a field they have to get paid. I'm not taking that away from them. But when has that become more important than what's going on with you? And was it okay that the psychiatrist is giving you a magic pill that's going to make everything better? And if that magic pill doesn't help, 30 days supply, and you get with them and you know that you get less time with your psychiatrist who gets paid $90 an hour, and you're in there with them maybe 10 or 15 minutes, but they're going to keep prescribing you stuff to make you feel better. And when that doesn't work, they're going to wean you off that, and they're going to have you try something else, and they're going to wean you off that and have you try something else. And eventually, yeah, they're going to find something, and the dosage is going to be so high that you're not feeling anything. So, yeah, you're not depressed. Yeah, you're not having anxiety. But you know what? You're not feeling happy. You're not feeling excited. You're not feeling anything. And I take that from somebody who has been there. They will medicate the hell out of you if it's going to stop you from saying things like, well, that medication didn't work and the side effects were brutal. And they're going to look in the DSM-5. And what that is a medical book with all kinds of mental illnesses that have been around since the turn of the century, where they've improved and they've used different medications to treat different things, whatever that may be. And they're going to keep giving you stuff until you have a coping mechanism by taking whatever amount of dosage of that pill is. And what they don't seem to understand is we're giving you an addiction, and not all antidepressant and antipsychotic medications are an addiction, but we're going to give you a crutch to help you get through your day, and then you're going to be dependent on it once a month because it's usually a 30-day supply. They're going to give you, your therapist is trained to give you things like Put 2 feet on you're having anxiety attack, you're in the middle of a panic attack, and I've been there. Put your feet on the floor, take deep, slow breaths, relax in and out, pick 5 different things to look at, uh, turn on your favorite TV show, go to your favorite YouTube channel, um, turn on your TikTok. For me, it was 80s music. I have it in my car. I don't listen to anything else but that, and then on YouTube as well. And yeah, it works for a short time. Your ability to pay for exceeds what's going on with you. Exactly what I'm saying. Why do we not have a sliding scale? If you're coming in, it's not your day to be at the therapist. Why do we not have a sliding scale for you to be able to feel safe enough that you can go in and you can talk to them? That's why this is so important. We need to help each other. We need to address these issues. We're not a number. We are human beings with feelings and emotions, and we count, and we need to be able to give suggestions to other people. And I will take anything that I've read, and I may or I may not use it. And if it works for me, that's awesome. If it doesn't work for me and it's helping somebody else, that's great. That's all I ask. But there's thousands of hundreds of thousands of people who are on Facebook and YouTube who are not receiving this information, and it's a sin. We're not doing it. Share, like, subscribe, share this video. Get it out there. Get them away from the drama that only makes the mental health worse. If you're in a bad space, listening to somebody chop up somebody else is not going to make it any better. And you being part of it is not making it any better. It's sure it's a relief. It's a quick little hi. Yeah, you're listening to somebody else's supposed issues. But are they really issues? Are we not talking about what's going on a daily basis? Are people can say what they want about you, and at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because you're the one still sitting and dealing with your issues, good, bad, or indifferent, whether it's mental health, physical health, loss of a loved one, a good day at work, a bad day at work, a good time with your family, a bad time with your family, bills, uh, anything like that. At the end of the day, someone saying something bad about you is not changing any of that. And you going back and saying something to them is not changing that. I don't blame you, Lita. Um, but it's not changing that. It's not. You can criticize. Is that going to make your life in real life any better? No, it's not going to. Do I like going to other YouTube channels and listening and maybe agreeing, maybe not agreeing? Sure, I'm open to that. But if I'm having a Gary day, because when it comes down to it, I have to own what I'm feeling. I have to own where I'm at. I have to be able to feel comfortable enough to reach out to somebody and say, you know what, I'm hurting, and I know that they're on the other side saying, you know what, that's okay. And it has to be a two-way street. If you're not able to have somebody brought up a very good point in my last live that they've tried this and it was so one-sided they didn't want to do it anymore. Well, you know what? It has to be both ways, but if it has to be one way for today, just for today, that's okay. That's fine. Should it be something where we're giving back? Absolutely. Should I have that comfort in my heart and soul to give back? Absolutely. Because it's not about me 24 hours a day. It's not about any of that. It's about if I'm talking to you and you're having a shitty day, or your depression has got to the point where you're in tears and you're hurting and there's no one around and you can't get anybody, and all you really need is an ear and somebody who will listen to you. Isn't that what's important? Or you're in the middle of a panic attack, an anxiety attack, or you've been triggered out of your sleep by the fact that you almost died years ago, or you're on a post where you don't think you can make it anymore. Absolutely, come here. And I'm not talking about, yes, there's people who want attention, but okay, think about this. We're so quick to talk to people about or say that person's just looking for attention. Okay, so they're looking for attention. That means there's something missing out of their lives. Why are we not listening? Why aren't we asking questions? If that's how you feel, say, you know, I hear you, but what's really going on with you? Maybe it's something that's you never thought in a million years that that's what they were reaching out for. Um, maybe it's something going on at home. Maybe it's a ex-boyfriend, girlfriend, current husband, wife, ex-wife, kids, whatever it is, and they're not talking about it. It's time that we do. Let's take the mental health pandemic and do something about it because it's important. We need to love and care about each other. We need to hug our kids. We need to say, I love you and you matter, and mean it, not because it's, hi and goodbye, but say because we mean it from our heart, from your mind. Those two pieces together make the world what it used to be, and it's not going to happen overnight. I'm not telling you it's going to happen overnight because that's not reality. It took 2 years plus to get here, to this anger and this hatred and this division and this whole deal about racism. It took 2 years of baloney going on. And I'm not saying don't pay attention to what's going on in the world. We're fed it 24 hours a day. We know what's going on out in the world. Can we have sympathy? Absolutely. But can we be here for ourselves and each other? Because if we're not here for ourselves and each other, then what good is it? We're not helping each other. We're not caring about each other. It has to matter. When you go into any room, be it on Facebook or YouTube or TikTok or whatever else is out there, and somebody says, "How are you doing today?" And when I say that, when I open this and say, "How are you doing?" I really want to know how you are doing. And regardless of what you're feeling, you need to know that I'm okay with whatever you're feeling. There's no judgment here. There's no, geez, that person is a loser. Geez, that person look at their life. No, because if you've ever been a victim of that, you understand where I'm coming from. Getting help comes from the professional people. Are they 24/7? No. Getting help from your family if they haven't dismissed you already because they've told you 100 times that you're going to be all right and they don't want to hear it anymore. No. Coming on here and not being charged and being able to spill your gut and have a shoulder to cry on and being understood, that's what matters. And there's other YouTubers, I'm sure, I'm praying, I'm hoping that they will pick up on what I'm doing and will do the same thing. And it doesn't have to be, um, my lives don't have to be so serious all the time. But for right now, they have to be serious because we're living in a fear filled world and we're not talking about it. And on top of what's going on and out in the world that's throwing fear into our everyday lives, we're dealing with issues that are not being addressed. Whether it's getting over the C word or the V word or the P word, political, all of those things we've lived through in the last 2 years, all the division that we're still living with now, personally, is except for, and I will say this, except for the P word or the C word, okay? Because those are medical health things, I believe. This is just my belief. You believe whatever you want to because that's your right. The biggest pandemic that's happening right now is we're losing people because it's all behind closed doors, because we're not captive behind closed doors anymore because they say we have to be. We're behind closed doors because we don't know how to be outside of those closed doors and not feel safe. And because mentally and emotionally, we're not there. We have issues going on. We have domestic violence. We're moving backwards. We have depression. We have anxiety. We have PTSD. We have CPTSD. We have people who have never dealt with being on the streets before out on the streets, learning how to live that life. Blame who you want, but when it comes down to it, we're not dealing with it in a correct way. Yulita, I've been saying that for almost the last two lives because this is my second one. Some people need to put their cell phones down and away and listen. How many times have you ever been somewhere, anywhere, and not seen a bunch of people walking around supposedly together with their face in their phones or getting a selfie? Because that's going to change the way I feel about myself. It's not. That's not a reality. I can take selfies all over where I live. Is it going to make me feel better? No. Or texting some person on the internet when I'm walking down the street with supposedly my significant other or girlfriend, boyfriend, friend, whoever. Is that making us feel better? It's not. I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to talk about it, and I'm going to be straight with you. And I'm not going to pull any punches. Yes, the cell phone it does have its positive things, but a lot of it is not positive. We've opened the gateways to so many things, whether it's people talking stupid and on the internet and end up getting killed or threatened, or people are talking on the internet and you think that you're talking to somebody your age, and mom and dad and other people, you're having a tough time at home, and they're gonna make you a rock star, or your kids are on the internet and they're not old enough to be on the internet, and we're putting them out there. We're in this, and we all know the sick people out in the world who are gonna take those pictures and they're gonna do some really sick shit with them. So what I will tell you is that's the negative parts. And not having one-on-one conversations in person, on the phone, in FaceTime, on um oh my god, I can't even think of it right now. On give me on Zoom, even a Zoom, even on a Zoom call, you can see the other person. If you can't reach because of where you're living in this country, if you can't reach locally out to somebody that you're close with, there's Zoom, there's FaceTime, there's Messenger FaceTime. If you don't feel comfortable about giving out your number, do that. There's YouTube. I'm here. There's other people who have platforms and they're here. Share this out. I'm imploring you. Share this video. Share it, because there's gonna be somebody somewhere who needs to know that they're not alone. I came across one before I was even online tonight, where I was reading this person's post in an anxiety group, and I won't use their name. And they were talking about how they're lost. They have medication. They're lost. Is there anything else out there? What have you tried? I'm losing my mind. I need somebody to talk to. Do you know, at that time, when I happened to be scrolling through, you know, I saw that and I looked and there wasn't one comment. Not one. Now, because there's those groups out there, are so-called groups, who you can't say certain things in anxiety and depression group. Are you kidding me? If you're hurting or you're going through something, and because of guidelines that they set up, because you have we made it a cancel culture even in their groups that they have to post a post like that? I'm lost. I don't know what to do anymore. I've had every medication in the book. I'm hurting. I need somebody to talk to, and there's not one damn response. Be it real or not. If it's real, then we help them. If it's not real, we there is ways of getting away from that. We can block them, whatever that, whatever. But if it's real and they are hurting and they don't have anybody, why are we just scrolling by to find out who's saying what in what post? Have we lost our empathy and our caring for people? It it's got to start somewhere. Come here. Go to find, if you're not comfortable here, find another YouTube group. And if you're not comfortable in a Facebook group, find another one till you're getting responses, till you have somebody who are saying to you, I'm in the same boat you are, or they feel that way. Listen and understand them. Take the time to do this. I'm not lecturing anybody. I am just trying to make a difference. And what I'm telling you is what I want to do also. Yes, I go to the grocery store. Most times I have it delivered because winter hasn't left us yet. It just won't leave us alone. And driving not too safe in the, you know, but um we need to stop picking people up. And I don't mean that in the literal sense. I mean that in the mental health sense. I mean checking in with people when you wake up and you've had your coffee and your cigarette and you've gone to your job. If you have a minute at lunch and you have a friends list and you see that somebody's active, they don't have to be in crisis for you to say, I'm on my lunch. Just, I saw you were active and I just thought I'd say hello. That's not a big deal. If we got one of them, give me a minute. Okay, that's good. Um, yeah, definitely do that. Take a minute out of your day, 30 seconds for a quick hello. I'm at work. I saw you. I just thought I'd stop by, say hi. Wanted to check in on you. We have lost that ability. Let's start working on that. If hope, bless your heart, it was 70 there today. We have snow right now. Okay. Again, like 3 days later. Um, if it was 70, I think I would have spent a little more time out today. Um, and hopefully it will be soon. It is March 1st after all. But yeah, we I need to do those things. I need to make a difference. And the difference starts with me. And that's why I'm here. So I can help you to help you to help yourself to help me. Because something you're doing to make your mental health better and it's a healthy thing, I might learn something from. Maybe I'll use that. And maybe somebody else in the chat will use that. That whole thing is going to be good. We need to share this, share it, share it, share it, like it, share it, share it, share it, share it. Because YouTube is weird lately. They don't even give out notifications. They're having issues. But share this. The more it's shared, the more people it's going to reach. Share it in your Facebook groups. Share it to Facebook because they're going to know they're not alone. Nobody needs to live in this hell by themselves. It's crazy that we don't have a real, honest, and true outlet for our feelings. We don't. And I'm offering that because I think we can build on that. I absolutely think we can build on that. A, a show at a time, a day at a time, a moment in time. The one good thing of advice that I've ever heard is when you're dealing with life, you deal and you're having a hard time, a minute, a second, a minute, an hour, 2 hours a day helps. But here's what we're really good at. Now, my son's birthday is the 10th. I've thought about that birthday since last month. We are so good at this. We are so good about worrying about tomorrow, and we're not even promised it. We're so good at worrying about tomorrow that we forget about today. And we'll beat the hell out of ourselves for tomorrow, and it hasn't even got here yet. Okay, so we have date books and we have to do X, Y, and Z. Maybe you have to go to a job or you have to take care of a family member. You have to go grocery shopping or you get paid tomorrow or whatever. Let that time happen. And I'm, believe it, I have to do this for myself as well. And I do my damnedest to do that. And that's what I'm talking about is that's an anxiety and a panic thing. That's even a depression thing because all of that gets twisted into I've got to do this. But not only do I got to do this, I'm nervous about doing it. And I'm nervous about doing it because I don't know if I can do it, even though I do it every day or 3 or 4 times a day or a week. Am I good enough to do this? Do people see me as good enough? It and we've got that focus on are they looking at me? Are they? Are they looking at me? Am I good enough? Am I good enough for this earth? And then the anxiety steps in, and the anxiety says, oh my God, you're gonna die. Your heart's racing, your mind's racing, you can't sit still, Your ADD kicks up if that's what you have. You can't sleep, you can't eat, and then it escalates into physically, and your surroundings can wait till tomorrow, and what you're physically going through, you feel like you're dying. I ain't holding no punches because most people who go through anxiety and panic, that's how they feel. Now, because I can't speak for other people, but I know that feeling of sitting here doing this and saying my own internal prayers and talking to myself and trying to talk myself down. Oh my God, I'm having, oh, what am I going to do? And yes, it passes. But what doesn't pass is that we are a very mechanical type creature because PTSD, CPSD, depression, anxiety, panic attacks. When all is said and done, our bodies feel like we just been hit by an 18 wheeler. Okay. We're exhausted. And all those things that we were going to do later, we physically can't do them, not because physically, yes, you can get up and you can pick up a few things and whatever, sure. But we've internally beaten the hell out of ourselves to the point where we can't. And it does have to wait till tomorrow. And we wake up tomorrow, we're still having that anxiety or panic attack or whatever it was, hangover. Yeah, he's 10 days, 9 days before you. I'll be looking for your birthday on the 19th. You're gonna be 29, huh? But to imagine living a life like that, where on a daily basis, that's what we're doing. We're kicking our own ass because we're worried about what Tom, Jerry, and everybody else is thinking. Some people have donuts. Some people have donuts. I have smart food. Yes, don't we all wish we could be? Don't we all wish we could be young again? Like I said in my last life, if I could go back to a certain time in this world, I would. But until that becomes a reality, I'm not going to be able to. But I'm here. Share this out. It's important. I don't want to have to hear about another friend that didn't want to be here. I don't want to have somebody hurting that they can reach out. I'm going to be 55 in December. I get 10 on you. Girl, you don't look it. Um, I don't want to be in that situation but I'll be here for that person who lost that person. Empathy has gone out the door. Trying to help people, I'm not giving up. Loving people, I'm not giving up. And I need you to do the same thing. I would love that if you could take this each time I'm on and share it with somebody. Let them know that there is people in this world that care about them. Let them know that they are loved. Let them know if they're out there and they're making a difference in the world. That's awesome. Let people know who are out on the streets and they're doing stuff for their community. Let them know. And even if you don't live there, let them know. See, I appreciate what you're doing. You're amazing. If you're another channel and they're trying to help people, let them know. Not because I'm asking you to give them a pat on the back, because there's not enough people who are doing it. And you're an amazing person. You're out there on the streets. You're in your community. You're making a difference. I don't live there, but I appreciate what you're doing. Goes a long way. They see that and they may just laugh it up and say, "Oh, thanks." But they see that and it matters. When you're out in Facebook land or YouTube or TikTok and somebody's having a hard time, stop and ask, if there's nobody there, ask them, "Geez, I heard you. I was, on the, going through, I was reading posts, whatever. What can I do for you? Is it, and you're crying out for help. What can I do to help you?" And it's not being, as some other people would say, a simp. You know what a simp is? They call that a sucker because you care about the world outside of your own. Because you have a take care of attitude. I've always been a person who wants to take care of other people. That's my nature. That's who I am. And you know what? And I'll be that way the rest of my life. But at that same time, I'm going to be that person who's going to be out there, who's going to be saying, "I'm not having a good day. I'm hurting. My heart is hurting. And I want to be able to reach out to somebody who gets it, who understands it, who makes time to understand it." See, that's the key, making time. And if you're free right at that minute, that works too. And if you need help, reach out, schedule something. If you work, I don't know, 10 hours a day and you got a kid, and that kid needs you, you take care of the kid first, and then you do what you got to do for you. But if somebody reaches out to you and you don't have time in that day, Make time, make another time, schedule something so that they know that they can count on the fact that you're there, and start checking on our neighbors. I don't care where you live, or if you're going out to check the mail and you live in a complex and there's somebody out there checking their mail, say, "Hi, how you doing? Hope you're having a good day." And if you don't get an answer, that's okay because you tried. But that next time you check that mail and they're out there, maybe say, Hi, how are you?" We need to get back to that. As well as when we're out in the world and we're at a grocery store or we're at a drive through, McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, whatever your choice of stuff is, pizza delivery people, a simple thank you means everything. Because you know what? And I can say this because I'm formerly in that field, we appreciate that because we deal with ugly all day. It's not good enough. It's not new enough. It's not old enough. It's not cut right. It's not this way. It's not that way. I want to pay this way. This person behind the counter is, you know, a bitch. This one, this shopping cart guy can't stand him. But that guy comes over to put groceries in your car, or he comes and he waits and he grabs your cart. Thank you. That's all. Somebody holds the door for you somewhere. Thank you. You go to a drive through and they make your food. When you get to the window, the person in that window is not the person who made your food 9 out of 10 times, but it's simple. Thank you. You don't have to tell them you love them because I think if you told them you love them, they'd look at you a little funny. But a thank you. I appreciate you being here. Build a relationship, even that tiny. When you go to the same grocery stores and you know that there's people who work there and you know that you got to pick up X, Y, and Z on your list, right? You got to pick that up once a week, every couple days. When you see that same person working, say, "How you doing today?" And be sincere about it. Yes, I know you got 100 things on your mind. You got to get the right food for the right price, for the right time, for the right family member. I get all that. But let's start trying to do that. And then when you are home again, don't look at, try not to, I won't say don't, but try not to, at the end of your work day, at the end of your errands you're running, try not to look at your house as, or your apartment, or your room, wherever you live. Try to not look at it as, "Oh my god, I gotta go home to this," or "I forgot to do that before I left." Try to not associate it with anxiety, um, depression. Think about, if you have an animal, think about, I'm gonna go home and see, say you got a cat, I'm gonna go home and see Fluffy. Or if you get a dog, at home and it's not with you, say, you know what? It's gonna be really nice because I could take, I'm gonna use Fido because there's a million names for dogs. I know that Fido's waiting for me. They're looking forward to seeing me. and I'm gonna take them out, and when I get home, I'm gonna feed them and whatever. And then they know more than I do how you're feeling because they've been around you enough to know. And they have that sense. And petting them and crying is completely normal. But if you can get on any platform and talk about how you're feeling, where you're feeling it, no, Yulita, I'm trying to tell them how to have common decency, not how to have manners. That's something they should have been already taught as a child. Common decency, yes. But when you come home, you have dinner, you do what you do, and you're sitting in front of the TV, you're on whatever, you're having your dinner, you're taking care of your kids, whatever your routine is. And 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock at night, whatever time, whatever hits you, get on, use what you can from the coping skills, but get on YouTube, reach out to somebody, get on Facebook, reach out to somebody, and don't be ashamed to reach out to somebody. That's the biggest thing I see on Facebook and on these YouTube channels. They'll sit there in the comments because I've done it myself. You'll sit there in the comments and you'll have a lot going on with you. And they'll say hi if they see you, if they care to. Um, and they'll say, "How you doing?" That's when I say be brutally honest. Be brutally honest how you're doing. If you're having a shit day, say I'm having a shit day. If you're feeling depressed, say I'm feeling depressed. If you're not feeling well, say you're not feeling well. If you're saying that if you feel that you're not okay, deep breath from me. If you're not okay, say you're not okay. And if they say, I'm sorry, I'll pray for you, depending on where that comes from, whether you know them or not. If you know them, then you know that it's real. If you don't know them, then you kind of know it's kind of like because they said everybody else is going to. But be real. Don't ever say, I'm okay if you're not okay. If you're not okay, say you're not okay. And then if somebody asks you why you're not okay, you're off and running. But see, that's also what I'm offering here. But I want to build it into a family of just that. We can have a great conversation about good things. We can have an awesome conversation about good things. But if that person, whoever that may be, and we're having a great time with good things, comes in and they're upset, whoever gets to them first, whether it's myself or somebody else, ask them. And they'll say, maybe they'll say something, maybe they won't, maybe they'll, you know, I'll, I'll welcome them and I'll say, hey, how you doing? And if we know them, or maybe not even know them. And they kind of, they're not feeling all right. Maybe the first question we should ask is, why aren't you feeling okay? And how can we as a group help you? And it's okay. We don't care what it is. Not meaning we don't care what it is. I don't care where you're coming from. But okay in the sense of it's okay to talk about it here. You're safe. You're safe here. This is a safe place to talk about it. Imagine that, a safe place to be human. Who would have ever thought in a million years we needed a safe place to be human? But we do because of where we are. It's a cigarette, by the way, for all those wondering. But yeah, it's a safe place to be. You can come in here, you could be upset, you could be shaking, you can be crying your heart out, you can be depressed, you could be anxious, you could be dealing with a messed up dream that brought you back to a reality you've lived 100 times, and there's going to be no judgment because I don't believe in that. I want you to be able to reach out and feel comfortable enough to reach out and care about other people who are reaching out. Comfortable enough to say, hey, I'm not doing good today. And it's okay that they're not doing good today. There's nothing wrong with it. Sorry about that. But yeah, come by and say hello. Let us know what's going on with you. And one little secret behind the lines. I was a monitor on a face group, anxiety depression group. And you know what you get in the mail once a month? You get a paycheck. And we have all these guidelines. If you're talking this way, we kick you out. If you're talking that way, we kick you out. This is once upon a time about 5 years ago. If you're suicidal or you're extremely down, they kick you out. And when you're a monitor, just to make sure that people are safe, it wasn't set up right. It should be set up so you can take somebody who's in that predicament and be able to talk to them so that you can hear what their voice, give them information and help them. They don't do that. They just say call 911 and they kick them up, ban them out of a group. A group where it's supposed to be to help each other and to help in general. Wha- That's insanity. And because I went above and beyond, they kicked me out because I wasn't willing to do that. But now we've gone through the C, the V, and now we're dealing with what's going on. Not all places, because there's still places that there's a lot of C is going on, but in most places, it's getting better. Trust me, it is getting better. But now we have the ultimate pandemic, and that's mental health. And mental health is a bitch. I don't care what kind it is, it's not easy. And we have to reach out and we have to help each other. And it's important that we do. We have to. We have to start somewhere. We have to share this out. We have to share it out. We have to share it out to anybody and everybody. Somebody somewhere is worse off than I am right now. And then they're having a tough time and they're feeling that the world doesn't care. And when somebody says, "Are you all right?" They're like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And the depression gets deeper, but they're still fine. And the depression gets deeper. They're still fine. Ask them, they'll tell you. And one day, they're not fine anymore. By the grace of God, we hope they make it to a safe place and they're helped. But why did it take that much of an extreme for them to be able to reach out to even a perfect stranger to get them where they are now? It shouldn't take that time. I don't believe that. And I am trying to do everything that I can to help. And if I can't help, there's people I know that can. There's people in some of the comments that may have an answer that's pretty simple that I have no idea of. And depression isn't a light switch. I'm gonna tell you that outright. Depression, CPSD, PTSD, it's not a light switch. It doesn't turn on and turn off. Just because they tell you they're okay does not mean they're okay. If you know about it, check on them, talk to them. If you see somebody and they're out and about, you don't have to ask them if they're okay, but you could say hello. That might have been the first hello they get they've gotten all day long. But I think for here, let's share this out. Let's share this to our groups. Let's get more people here to become a family so we can make a difference in this world because we need to make a difference. Too many people are losing too many people. Anxiety has overridden everything. And I don't want to hear one person tell me they're not afraid because we have main media who'll have you dying tomorrow because it sells. That's reality. We have people who will tell you the prophecy said. Nobody knows. I don't want to know. I don't know what you know what I mean? Good night, Edelita. Thank you for dropping by. I love you and sleep well. And thank you for coming. God bless. Um, but yeah, I mean, like, let's get things going. Let's help people who don't feel like they can help themselves. And I don't think that's asking a lot. Because when I'm like I said, when I'm losing my mind, it can suck royally. It can, and it does. Let me tell you, it's no picnic, no bargain. But we can help each other, and I think that's ground rule one. We need to help each other. We need to share and like and support this platform. Subscribe, whatever it takes to get people who are not available. Let's get them here. Let's meet new friends. There's nothing better in this world than meeting new friends. If you remember from growing up, um, or through the years, meeting a new friend is awesome. And hopefully it's the right new friend. I mean, I'm not gonna tell you it's not. Um, let's make a difference. Let's love each other. Let's care about what other people are going through. Let's say things that are meaningful. Let's make that important. Let them understand that they mean something. Let's be a caring community. That's what's important. And we can have fun here too. I'm more than happy to whatever you come up with, or maybe you have a night where we're just gonna joke around or whatever. Because away from all the seriousness, be like once a week or something. But in the meantime, let's reach out. Let's help each other. Let's be there for each other and not be fake about it. If you're praying for somebody, then pray. If you're sending out a hug, hug them. If somebody loses somebody, whatever your response is, make it genuine, because there's enough fake bullshit going on in the world. It's incredible that we have that ability to take 2 or 3 years of this garbage and turn it around. So it's important. Let's make a difference. Let's give a shit. Let's care about people who, in this moment in time, can't care about themselves. If we can do that, we can do anything. If we can only care about one person, just one, no matter where you are, if we can care about one person, that one person gets spread it to another person. And it could be here, it could be Facebook, it could be TikTok, it could be out in the real world. Say hi. That's all. Simple hi. You don't have to know them. Say hi. Say thanks. Love each other. But if you're not in a good frame of mind, know that I am here. We as a group are here and that we do care and that it's okay to not be okay. And it's no shame in it of not being okay. And if you're afraid, then say you're afraid. If you're depressed, then say you're depressed. If you're anxiety, say anxiety. If you're dealing with demons from the past, then do that. Those demons from the past are hell. And so many people deal with that on a daily basis. Let come here. Let somebody know that you're having a hard time. Tell your story. They're going to find inspiration from it. They're going to know that somebody who's ready to end their life is going to know that you had a hard life. You've gone through a living hell, and yet you're still here because you fought and you changed and life got better. And whatever worked for you, if they're holding on by a thread, they're not going to be like, well, they made it. So what? They're going to stay and they're going to listen. I think that when we talk about this, it gives hope. No offense. Hope. But it gives hope that they're going to be able to express what's going on and not be afraid to. And I think that's important that we do that. We give them we give them the tools to do that with, to love on each other. And it's okay to not be okay. And you know what? We're always going to be here. Find it, find us, share this out, subscribe. And for the people who are seeing this after I get off, know that we're here. I'll be here again Thursday night and maybe some point over the weekend. But know that there is tomorrow. And if that has to be an hour at a time for you to get to tomorrow, there is a tomorrow. It's a minute, a second, an hour, and another hour. Don't project tomorrow. It's going to get here anyway. and we're not promised tomorrow, but if you hold on, you're gonna get there. I have faith in you. We have faith in you, but we need to get there. And if you're really, really just at that point of calling it quits, call the hotline, go to your ER, get the help that you need, but have faith because when you're gone, the emotional pain might be gone, but you're loved. Don't forget who you are. Remember who you are. I'm here. We're here. Feel free to stop by anytime when I'm live. Find somebody to talk to. Never, or try not to, give up on yourselves. Have a good night. I love you. And remember, your life and you, no matter how dark it is, you matter. With that, I'll say good night and I love you.